Hi, I'm Joe Soleil with Federal National Commercial Credit. Welcome back to our series, Factoring Costs, the 10 most misunderstood cost drivers. This is the last video in our series, and today we're going to talk about special services. You know, every good business is always trying to find ways to be more valuable, to provide more or better service to their customers. And factors and asset-based lenders are no different in that regard. They may have developed a particular expertise, strength, or excess capacity in doing business that allows them to come forward and offer something a little special that really isn't factoring and isn't asset-based lending, but adds some value to their customer base. Some examples of this might be purchase order financing, earned unbilled financing, kind of a work in process financing for services companies, equipment finance, collection services, billing services, escrow services. These are all things that are really not part of that core financing thing necessarily, certainly not based on accounts receivable, but they're ancillary services that may be valuable to you. The important thing to understand when you're looking at special services are, what is their competency? Are they good at this? You know, how good are they at this? 2, what's it going to cost? It may not be in their core competency, so you might find that the services aren't exactly what you could buy outside, and they might be more expensive than you could buy outside. For example, payroll services, equipment finance. There are many companies out there that provide these services to small business. So you may want to make sure that you can't get the same thing done better for a cheaper price in the open market. But if it's a service that is valuable to you, and you cannot necessarily find it out there in the market from other providers, then you turn to how much does it cost. Make sure you know how much it costs and whether or not you really can afford to pay that price. Or is it something maybe you should try to do without, or something maybe you should try to do internally yourself. You know, there is the phrase, having all your eggs in one basket, and there is that risk when you buy a lot of services from a small, unregulated finance company. You can get a little bit captive. It can be very hard to move, and very, very challenging, particularly if things aren't going well. So it is the case that you want to look at that as well. Does it make sense to spread your risk a little bit, to make yourself a little more mobile, to not have all your eggs in one basket, and perhaps to look in the open market for similar services, special services that may be very expertly provided and may even be at a lower cost. I'm Joe Soleil with Federal National Commercial Credit. This is the last video in our series, Factoring Costs, the 10 most misunderstood cost drivers. I hope you've enjoyed the series. I've certainly enjoyed being here to do it. We'll have other videos that come along that will be informative as well outside the series, and I hope you'll join us for those as well. Thanks again.